Okay, so I've picked up 2 books, a practical treatise on the law of trusts and trustees, 1858, and the other one is 1888. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So far, that's all that we're requested to download this evening. Is that correct?
So far.
Okay.
I'm going to compare the 58 with the 1858 with the 1888 and see if they're the same and if that's just a typo, something.
You just going to read them over the weekend?
Oh, yeah. What is it, like 1,000 pages?
Yeah.
I better get some lots of coffee and some no-dos.
Hey, Matt, is there a book I'm supposed to read?
Yeah, I'll Skype it to you.
Here before the meeting.
Easy on Pat.
We just want you to download
We're going to
it.
do a book in mind meld.
Pat, I'll Skype it so you can download it.
No books here. We're going to beam it.
We only abuse you because we love you.
Yes.
I'm sure glad Al Gore invented the internet, because this is kind of fun getting with a bunch of people that you wouldn't have met otherwise.
You mean the internet? No. The internet.
Fleur.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if you have that open.
He invented more than one?
If you could open up that, got it? There's a section called, in the beginning there, it's called tabular analysis. It gives you kind of like a flow chart, gives you part 1 on one page, part 2 on the second page, and it gives you part 3 on the third page, and part 4 at the bottom. And it's before the preface. So this tabular analysis, this flow chart here, this is exactly what they're doing today. This gives you a blueprint of how they're operating. This will clue you in on how to handle anything comes at you.
Oh, I love it.
On part 2, down towards the left-hand bottom of the section there.
What book are we on, Christian?
We're on this volume 1. We're in part 2, where it's talking about this tabular analysis, which is before the preface. It's right at the beginning of the book. Gives you like a flow chart. Part 1, part 2, and part 3.
And a practical treatise, yeah?
Yes, right.
Page 22.
So part 2, it says, talking about the top there, it says under the tabular analysis, it says the trustees.
I'm on section 1.
I believe somebody said it was page 20.
I think it's page 14.
14. It may be different in different versions, so yeah, because Google adds those pages in the beginning and then it throws off the numbers.
Oh, I just looked at the actual page number of the PDF. It's 23 of 877. I just go by that. That's the easiest to reference. They should all be the same document.
Yeah. So it's really XIV.
Correct.
Yes. So if you find page XIV, which is really the tabular analysis at the top, says part 2, part II. Says the trustee.
I think the book I've got then is all over the place. For some reason the PDF is showing like page 46, but the top page is 1074 and 1075. Okay.
This is the very beginning of the book, before the preface, very beginning of the volume 1. Find it yet?
I'm waiting for a copy to download from Pete. Actually, I'm still download on Skype. This one I've got on here, Kristen, that's starting with substitution of trustees and page 1042, straight after the introduction.
X1B. No.
Okay, I'm looking at an old one now. It's got tabular analysis on an old one, so I'll go with that one in a moment.
Yes, there you go. It's tabular analysis part 1, and then the second page is tabular analysis part 2.
Yep. And then part 3, yeah.
Yeah, part 2 says the trustees at the top.
Yep, that's the one.
Okay, if you come down along the right hand and follow that down, and then it comes down to that line where it's talking about, second one from the left, duties of trustees, page 287.
Okay, it's a different page on this
And
one,
then
Bob.
follow that down to the next line and go left where it says in trust of renewable leaseholds, page 63.
494 on this one, but at least I've got it.
Mine's all messed up too. I'm going to go to the index and see where all this stuff is.
So to give an example of what this comports to here is in trust of renewable leaseholds, really right there, that's talking about prison, and that's where you are leased and released, prison. Because really, this book is explaining that you're a piece of property in the trust, and the trust is now putting it into a lease, and you're being leased into the prison system. And then when your term is up, then you're released. You're released back to where you came from.
Oh my God.
For prison release. So this was really leaseholds. So altogether, we were thinking it was under bailment, not under bailment. It really comes under leaseholds. And then it follows down farther, and then at the bottom it says, in what cases the obligation to renew, and then to the right, in what manner fines to be levied. So here's the problem. Since 1933, we didn't have any money. Now we can't complete any kind of contracts, and a leasehold is really a contract. So what came in and filled the void of all substance, really, because today nothing has any value because there's nothing to value it with. So everything is valueless. So nothing can be used to complete a contract. Nothing at all, because nothing has any value. So if that's the case, then just like we've been saying before, everything has to be a trust. So we have to start looking at everything as being a trust. So really this leasehold here, that you are being leased into the prison, is really nothing more than another trust. And you have to treat everything as a trust. But you're going to look at it as being a leasehold. You can use this book to figure out what they're doing. Keep in mind they can't do all these things because nothing here to make a completed contract with, and really what you're talking about is another trust. So another trust was formed off the other trust, and the trust transferred the property to the other trust, and the other trust was really the prison. And if we start treating everything as trust, now we've got everything pretty simple, because we want to treat everything the same way. Then in Part 3, there's under the steady key trust, which is the beneficiary, the one to the left of the middle is the estates as affected by dealings of the steady key trust or by operation of law, page 692. And then down below, where following the line down, it talks about assignments, and it talks about merger, and it talks about judgments, it talks about forfeiture and the cheat. And it talks about the assets. And really, assignment is one of the methods of formation of a trust. So this is going to give you a roadmap and down at the bottom it says Part 4 is the practice in reference to the law of trust. It talks about production of documents, the compulsory payments into the court, receivership, or there's bankruptcy right there, or insolvency, and then cost of suits.
Kristen, do you mind doing a recap over what we're the pages and everything and the titles of what we're looking for?
Well, I was just pulling out an example of how
okay.
their whole book is just really a roadmap in exposing what they've had going on all these years.
You know, I never thought about that, released from prison.
Yes, that's a leasehold. But it can't be a completion of a leasehold contract because there is no value to be given anything for. So, because today really everything has no value, period, zero. Nothing can be valued because we don't have any real money to value anything with. So nothing can be in exchange to complete any kind of contract. Money, assets, or anything, because it's all fiction.
So I'm thinking of release of lien, release of levy,
It's all a leasehold. Uh-huh.
Yes.
It's all a leasehold. But since there's no money, there can't be a leasehold contract to be completed. So really, it's all talking about trust. Now, that simplifies everything. We just look at everything as it being a trust until we get money back. So that really simplifies things a whole lot. So that's just a look right there onto that. But now if we look for the first page, page number 1, where it talks the introductory view, the rise and progress of trust. Which the first paragraph heading is Origins of Trust. So on this first page and half a page on the second page, I've spent a good 2 days just on those 2 pages, page and a half. Now what I've done was, this is what everybody needs to do. They need to get a Black's Law if you don't have one. You need to look up the definitions that you think you know and look these up in Black's Law. And then on the side columns, they put in the definitions. Like I put on the right here, but freeholder. You know, write down the definition of freeholder. One who holds an estate or trust. An estate also equals a trust. So you need to define these terms as you go down through here. And it's a little slow going at first because you have to know what they're talking about. Because if we don't know the definitions of the words that they're using, and believe me, these definitions have all been changed, then we won't be able to be on the same page together. Like you need to know the trustee, it says here, is the debtor. You need to find out, say, like the definition of tenure, or the definition of, put my glasses on here, you know, the pledge, say. Down below where it's talking about free offees to uses. Well, free offee, that's trustees. And to uses, that's really uses is trust. So once you have the definitions, like alienation, that's transfer. Estates is trust. Execution, that's putting into effect. So you have to look up these words to make sure that you get some meaning. Wrote them in the side columns.
Boy, this is going to raise some IQ points, Kristen.
Yes. So confidence breaks down to two words, con and fidens. And fidens in Latin is fidea. And con is living, and fidea is by faith. So confidence is living by faith. So now these words start bringing new meanings to light. So when it talks about the confidence in the person, which is really you're living by faith on what the person said, which is really a bond or a pledge. My bond is my word. But yet that was a false security because of their own self-righteousness, their own self-dealing. And it was talking about the trustee, where the trustee absconded with the property. And that was the whole purpose why the trusts were created, so that it could take the holder that was holding the property illegally as trustee, because he didn't give the property to the beneficiary, and they came up with the subpoenas, and they came up with trust to force the trustee to do his disbursement to the beneficiary. And then they came up with a device to summons him into the court, which is the subpoena. And the subpoena was the sworn in, brought him into court so they could swear him in so he could answer the allegations of the beneficiary's charges. But the subpoena was really a device used for the real man, and the summons was used today as for the fiction. So the private man's device is the subpoena, and the fiction's use device is the summons. What do they do when they come at you in a charge today? The fiction comes at you with an offer, and they summons you into court on the main complaint. The fiction summons you into court. And then if you don't show up, then they subpoena you and get you to come in for a breach of not coming in. So the device that we need to be using as the real man to get them to come into court as real sureties is the subpoena. And we attack their straw man with the summons first, and then subpoena them into chambers for them to answer in chambers where the equity of the trust is. The real man's substance. But the key is the understanding of the words and the definitions. And by the time we get through the first section, about 20 pages into this whole thing is going to open up. You'll be able to see with trust eyes now. So the homework assignment is to get through the first section and at least start familiarizing yourself with some of these words and look up the definition of the words. So on Monday, we can go in depth with this and see how far we can get.
Christian?
Yeah, go ahead.
You're the first ever that I've ever seen doing a class and training and whatnot that actually started at the very basic foundational level of looking up definitions and getting familiar with them. I mean, I think you're absolutely brilliant anyway. But I just think that's incredible. I think it's great, and I'm excited to do it.
Well, I'm sure we're all going to learn a lot, and it's going to be an eye-opener. But once it's been open and we can see how they've been using all this against us because of our own ignorance, because we didn't know or understand that a trust was being used or being formed. And now when we walk into their realm knowing what they've been doing, and we understand it all, now we got control of both sides of the ledgers. And we can move the titles around and merge them in separate entities, do whatever we want.
You know what? This is what I've been waiting for. This is exactly what I've been waiting for. This is fabulous.
Christian, could you give me or us the correct pronunciation of the Sesta K Trust?
Steady key.
SETI Key.
Like, yeah.
SETIKKEE.
K-E-E. And the next word is key. K-E-E. Steady key.
Okay. Thank you.
Closer. I still got some brain conflict from the old definition, what I used to call it Sesta K, you know.
I also
I got to unlearn that and go steady key.
Right.
Is that Latin, Christian?
That word Latin again, I can hear you.
Is that Latin?
Oh, that's French.
You know what it stands for?
Beneficiary.
Christian, I think I heard somebody say that res, R-E-S, is actually pronounced race.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've kind of skimped on the pronunciation, so maybe we should get the higher classes to start learning the way they are pronounced. But
yeah, I'm not trying to be nitpicky. I was just wondering if you had heard that yourself or.
yeah, I have, because I've looked through these definitions. You know, I thought, oh well, you know, I'll be a little sloppy on the pronunciation. You know, gets the point across.
Yeah, because if somebody said race, I would go, even though I kind of think I know what res is, the body of the trust. If somebody said the race, I'd be lost.
Yeah, also the res is also the principal. When they say who's the party in interest, the principal party in interest, they're talking about a trust property. Another one of those portal words. Like interest. Interest is really what's talking about the trust. And everybody says, well, you know, what's your interest in this? Well, I got a stake in this. No, it's not talking about a stake. It's talking about an amount. I got $500,000 in this, in interest. That's my trust, which is the pledge, which is the security, which is my bond. Yes, and everybody thinks that, you know, another thing like free, everything is free. No, nothing is free, because free under the old wording definition means that it was pertaining to freeholder, and a freeholder was the holder that was holding in fee for the he was the possessor, or the terra tenant, which was the land tenant in possession of the land, who owed a fee, and under as a freeholder, he owed a fee to the obligation of the Lord. Whoever the Lord of the land was that he got the fee from. And that was free. He was a freeholder. And it wasn't free at all. It's not talking about anything being free. It's talking about he owed a debt. Free is owing it.
My God.
So
I used to love that four-letter F word.
So you could almost take out the R in that word and just, instead of free, just say fee.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, and the fee was the interest.
I guess the Montana Freemen better change their name.
Yes, because really it was a free offer for the obligation to be obligated.
They've put in the R, so because it's our fee that they're charging us.
Mm-hmm. So we've been played on words.
Yeah, they offer us a lot of free things that have a fee associated with them.
Yeah, right.
It's like the benefits and privileges. I mean, when I go into court and I waive the benefits and privileges, people think I'm crazy. You know, the people sitting in the gallery. They think it's fantastic, you know, benefits and privileges. And I'm like, no, it's like points off your license, suspension, revocation, you know, huge fines, fees, freeze, you know, community service, you know, jail, everything, probation. No, I can do without those things very well, thank you.
Well, we're going to learn how to, by trust, to function in commerce, or function as commerce, because really what we're doing is I was thinking about changing the title of the show, because the show was titled Money, Banking, and Trust by Moving Titles in Commerce. Well, it's not moving titles in commerce, it's really moving titles in trust. And when we really move titles in trust, it's functioning as commerce. It's just functioning as commerce. It's colorable commerce.
Through trust?
Through trust, yes. We're really moving titles in trust. And that's all they're doing. Except since you didn't express it to be a trust, now they're going to construe it to be under debtor-creditor. And they've been hiding it all under debtor-creditor all this time, because they've been forming all these signatures that you've been signing to get you to look like you're under debtor-creditor. Now we need to start realizing it's all trust and start creating evidence under trust. And once we create all the evidence that we need and records to prove that it is a trust, then the law must recognize it in equity. And that's where we're going to be in chambers, to where the law will recognize it to be a trust, and that's where enforcement comes, because we don't even really have to enforce anything once we prove a trust, because the burden of proof, the onus probandi, is shifted now to the other party, who is, say, the trustee is liable for not making the payment. And he's presumed to be guilty from the start. But that sounds like what they've been calling all along was admiralty. So here it wasn't admiralty all along. It was really trust, because admiralty was supposed to start out and for a breach of contract, and then pull you into court and into equity and get you the enforcement, and then slide back in for the penal sum, slide back out for the penal sum. But no, here it wasn't admiralty all along. It was really trust. And trust is what has come in and taken the perfect title, and that perfect title being 1776 Declaration of Independence, with America, the Republic, and within that circle, the title was like a line drawn in the middle of the circle, and it split that title into half, where the Republic, America, the private, was on the right-hand side, the assets, and the left-hand side was the public. So it split in half the Republic, and you got Republic and public. And now everything's held in trust, and it's being hidden on the other side of the mirror, and you're being caused to think you're operating on the left side, and here all along you're on the right side. So when we merge the titles, which the titles have already been merged, they're already in one entity, all we have to do is fulfill the purpose of the trust, and we do that, then the line disappears between the two, and the two titles are brought back together as whole, and they're made perfect again, and now we have the republic back. And we had this power all along, just like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. All through the movie, she had the red slippers.
Right title and interest.
Yeah, which is talking about trust. Right title and interest is trust. It's the certain kind of right that the beneficiary has against the trustee. That's the interest. And the certain kind of that was the right. Then it's a certain kind of interest that the beneficiary has against the trustee. And it's a certain kind of right that the, I forget the last part, but it's talking about property, and property is really title, because property is represented by the title. So there it is, it's right, title, and interest, right in that trust definition under Black's law. So we're thinking we got to have standing, and we got to have right, title, and interest under debtor-creditor. No, we're not under debtor-creditor. We're under trust. Since you never expressed it to be or declared it to be trust, they're going to construe it to be debtor-creditor. And that right, title, and interest is going to be under debtor-creditor instead of trust. So now if we see it for what it is, and we see the effects and the causes of it, now we can come in with the solution. And all three of those, the cause, the effect, and the solution, is in this book. And take that in comparison, which is the white, take it in comparison to the black, which is the statutes and codes trust under Gilbert's.
Christian?
Yeah.
Just to clarify on our homework assignment, do you want us to read chapter 1 or just this introduction to the introduction that's laying out
the review? Go in about as far as you can. Go in about at least 20 pages if you can.
Into the introduction?
Yeah, take the first 20 pages.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I was on the right page.
The content says that the introduction is like 2 pages, part 1, and then chapter 1 is like on page 13. Chapter 2 starts at 18, and then chapter 3. So if you go to page 20, you're going to be chapters 1, 2, and 3 under part 1.
Okay, you must have the hardbound, because of these digital. Page 88 is this for me. Well, no. How would I say
The problem is Google adds pages at the beginning, and then that throws your page off sequence. We're looking at a PDF.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you have to look at the bottom of the page where the page numbers are to really understand what page you are on.
You're talking about the book page number, not the PDF page number.
Of the actual book itself, not the PDF number.
Don't go by the PDF number. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
make sure you get to chapter 3. Go all from beginning to chapter 3.
Chapters 1, read chapters 1 and 2.
1 and 2, right. And make sure you do the footnotes. Okay?
What version, Christian, of Black's Law are you recommending?
Well, here's the thing. I was thinking the version that I got is the 8th edition, but they've come out with a 9th. So an 8th are compared to the modern day's terms today, see how it is. But then I'm going to be looking up these definitions in the 4th edition, and I'm going to go back into the 1st edition, which is 1910, and that's pretty close to 1888, which this book is based off of. So really, I am going to look under 3 Black's Laws and compare the definitional changes of how they've modified them up to present time, because I want to know that.
Exactly.
I want to see how they've been changing things around.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Is there a link for the first Black Black Laws book online? A download?
Does anybody have, I don't know about, you probably have to go to a bookstore and get a paperback copy of the Black's Law 8th or 9th. But really, I'd be really into this. I'd get myself a hardback copy of the 8th or the 9th, really.
You can actually get a digital version that will work within Word.
A disc of all the Black Laws.
Yeah, and there is a digital version that'll work along with Microsoft Word and Firefox, where you can enter the search words within those programs.
Well, if anybody has that, if they could share it with him.
I have a copy of it. I'll see if I can get where I can pass it on to others.
Yeah, I'd sure like a copy of that.
I'll tell you, the best way to do it is if you would send me maybe the copies of it. That way we could post it up on the ForShare site, and then we could pass everybody out the download link, and they could all load it off of that.
Well, I'm saying this is digital. It's an actual program that links into Microsoft Word or Firefox.
Oh, okay.
It's a CD. I'm not sure whether I can copy that and pass it on. Since everything is paid for, I used to think that would be stealing, but since everything is paid for, that may be the wrong viewpoint.
I have 1 through 8 on a DVD, and I can download it and distribute it out.
All right, great.
Hey guys, this is Simon. I wanted to interject on something. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Opera browser, but on the new Opera browser, they have something called Opera Unite, and where you don't have to upload anything. You basically make your own file from your computer. As long as someone has your information, you go right up there, and you can just take whatever they have off files. It's real easy and simple.
And that's Opera browser?
Yep. You got to download the Opera browser, just like Firefox or Netscape. Download the browser. You can share all your files. You can share music or whatever.
Kind of like Skype then, huh?
Yep. What I do, I post the link up.
So, Donna, do you have the digital format you said?
It's on an actual DVD.
A DVD?
Is it in searchable PDF, those 1 through 8?
Searchable PDF.
Searchable.
That's a good question. I don't know.
You can put a word in, like, let's say person, and it'll take you right to the definition.
I was talking to Bob Hurt last night, and he was telling me about a program where you can just look. You can it's called, oh gosh, what was it? WordPlus.org or something like that. And where you just type in a word and it gives you a definition right there, and it's free.
Yeah, but we don't know what version it's coming from or what source, what year.
Are you talking about the Black Laws or
the
program?
Yeah, those definition off the internet,
I think it's wordplus.org or something like that, and I'm not really computer literate, so I could look at
JC. Just in a word, you'll come up with spelling and definitions on Wikipedia or someplace, but what is the source of, what is it year, what is it based off of? There's no way of judging, I don't.
Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention last night, but he said it's so invaluable because it'll search your computer for all the definitions that are on your computer. And if you have the Black's Laws on your computer, you can look up anything like instantaneously, and it'll have the definition right there. But I could call him tomorrow and get more info about that.
Yeah, well, I just have to know exactly what is the source of the definition. Is it a Black's Law, and then what edition it went from?
Yes. Yeah, he was saying that it tells you which Black's Law it's from. And there's a free version of it, too, so.
Christian, I have the Black's First, actually, and it's a West Publishing, 1891 publishing date.
Oh, that's pretty close to what I thought. 1888 there, so you probably get some good definitions off of Freoffy and uses and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So does everybody understand what we're going to be doing?
Chapters 1 and 2 and the footnotes.
Yeah, we're going to be tearing apart trust and putting it back together word for word.
And we're doing this every Monday night, correct, Christian?
Yeah, until
starting at 10 o'clock Eastern.
Right.
And going till, what, 2 a.m., did you say?
Who knows?
Still question marks.
No, Christian's a night owl, aren't you?
Yeah. And, your group's under. Get your 12 under you. Get 12 people that you're inviting into your own local group and hold a meeting with them, So everybody get their 12.
Christian, question. How many people are not on Skype? How many people here are not on Skype?
Wait a minute, I'll tell you in a minute.
Because if we could form our own Skype group, and if there's everybody here, that's a nice, quick way to share files too.
Right.
Well, yeah, for everybody, I just posted that link for the Unite Opera as well, and I also posted a link for the Black's Law Dictionary 1891. Up there, if you look on the public chat.
Where did you post that?
Public chat on the whiteboard.
On the right side.
Yeah, got it.
How do you get?
See if public chat.
So that was Black's Law, and what else did you have posted?
The Unite Opera is it's another browser, just like Firefox, in which you can any files that you have on your computer or audios or anything, you can put a folder and share it with anyone who you share your information with. You don't have to upload anything. As long as you're online, you don't have to upload anything. Like with Skype, if you upload something, it may take 2 or 3 hours for something that's like so many megabytes,
Right.
Did you say there was an additional piece that you needed to install once you have Opera installed in order to do the sharing?
Piece. No, there's no additional piece, no.
Okay, I see where it says stream music, share files, and share photos.
Right. That's an application. If the application, you download that application, and once you do that, then you can say you want to have a certain file. Say this will be trust file. You put anything that you want to share in that file. Then when I come up there, I can just take it right from there without you uploading anything.
And that would require you also be on Opera.
Exactly. Right.
And so if we're both on Opera, how do you find a because this is basically a peer-to-peer network that you're sharing files through.
Yeah, basically. What it is, once you create a login, create your username and all that, then you give the group your username, then we can go up there and find you.
Okay. So that takes the place of, say, Firefox?
Exactly. It's the same thing. better. Opera is very good.
Does anybody in the group use any kind of encryption software to encrypt your files?
No, I don't.
I do.
You don't use TrueCrypt, do you, Christian?
No, whatever comes with Linux,
TrueCrypt is fantastic, by the way. Yeah, I love TrueCrypt.
Yeah, I use TrueCrypt, and I absolutely love it. It's a free download.
There's some feedback happening. I'm not sure who's has it.
Well, if somebody doesn't have a headset on, and it's coming out of their laptop speakers or their computer speakers, you're going to get that feedback.
Sounds like they're in a submarine doing the sonar deal.
Yeah, it does.
I'll post that link if anyone wants to download it.
Just like Blacks is a requirement, we should make headsets a requirement. Clear transmission.
Hey, Christian, our 12 that we get, are we supposed to bring onto the call?
Say that again?
The 12 people that we get under us, do we then invite them onto the call?
Yeah, they can attend, yeah.
Okay.
We got room for 150 people.
Okay.
Christian, are these going to be recorded when we actually start to, study?
Yeah, I'll be able to record it also.
Okay.
Christian, how long do you expect us to be studying, learning, digesting this before we start to prepare allonges, documents, things like that?
Well, I think we need, as much as we can into it. I think the first 20 pages is going to make a big difference.
Yeah.
It's going to bring a better understanding of how trusts are operating, how they've been operating, put it that way. The longer we spend at it, the more knowledge and understanding we're going to gain of the trust, how to administer it. I guess the faster we progress, the understanding. It turns out to be, when you're asking the question, what's the verbiage for that? You really shouldn't be doing it yet because you don't understand what you're doing. If somebody else has got to supply you with the verbiage, you're not ready. And you can answer your own question, and I can sit down there and, this is what I need. I need to plug it in, and I can, construct the sentence structure, and the meaning is there, and everything I need is there. That's the time when I'm ready to use it. Because really, I own it. I inside and out.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that.
This tabular analysis.
Do you feel like you could? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This tabular analysis is fantastic.
Yeah.
It even tells you the pages to go to get clarification.
Christian, do you think you have enough of a base and handle on all this that you could do all your documents, write all your allonges? Or do you expect, I'm trying to get a feel for the tenor of the group, or do you expect that collectively, although a lot of us are well behind you in your understanding, that we'll all collectively grow to a higher level and collectively produce documents that are superior to even what could be done today by a sole person?
Right. How long that takes, I have no idea, because, I really thought that everybody was 3 steps ahead, and here when I start talking to people and this and that, and find out, we're not 3 steps ahead, we're back on step 1 again. I keep coming back down to the basics of the elements, to prove the trust. Which comes back down to we don't have a firm grasp of the basics yet.
Well, this is all I'm going to be doing for the next 3 days. This is it.
Yeah. If it doesn't roll off your tongue, you're not going to be able to perform in court.
True.
somebody mentioned
for the heart, words of the mouth speak. So my cup has to run over with knowledge before I can give it on to somebody else, or I spew it out.
Christian, I have a suggestion. I used to be in big league sales, like selling $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 franchises virtually over the phone, and we used to drill, with each other before we get on the phone, and we had people identified, and how we're going to talk to this married couple, how we're going to talk to a pure businessman, and they just want the facts and the statistics and the features, and that's it. But I think it would be kind of smart if some of us could get together and like pair up maybe and drill. I mean, it's very, very helpful.
Right.
Because I would like to get through
any way that
if
you're repetitive, to bring it in the eye gate, the ear gate, and speak it out the mouth gate.
Well, I want to be the first out of the gate, and if someone out there is as like-minded and has time to study like I do, I would love to pair up with whoever that is.
Donna, that's all I'm doing right now is studying and preparing and reading. I'd be happy to do some of that with you. JC.
Okay. I'm sorry, what's your name?
JC.
JC. Okay, you're my new best friend.
Hello.
Hello.
Just to let everyone know as well, I've just put a link up that I found Black's Law Dictionary 8 free download, part 1 and 2. I've just put the link up on the right hand side.
It's an 8, yeah.
If you had Opera, we could all connect to it and download it from your Opera account right now.
No, I haven't got it, unfortunately.
Donna, do you have a Skype?
Yeah, it's
You want to just chat it up there?
Yeah, okay, I'll put it up there for you just a sec.
Thanks.
And what state are you in, JC?
I'm near Arizona.
Oh, okay.
The straw man's in Arizona.
Right.
Well, that is a fact.
The straw man's in the state of Arizona. Okay, so everybody write down on the screen there, the number and how to get down. Write yourself a little instructions of how you got in, so the next time we come in on Monday, we can get in here, and get started without too much problem. So kind of review in your mind and write down the steps that it took to get you in on the whiteboard and the number on the screen to call into the Skype and that.
By the way, I'd like to, I guess maybe extend the offer for anybody who feels like they have strength in a certain area, and then you feel like you're getting a grasp on certain areas. Donna and I are talking about certain issues. Doesn't mean that, Rhonda, you and I can't address other matters, and everybody learns from everybody else, and maybe bits and pieces, because somebody's always going to grasp something faster. So I think everybody should be proud and enough to stand up and say, I think I understand this. Share that with everybody. Let us tear it apart and rebuild it. And I think in that process we'll all grow faster. So I see lots of unique individual relationships going one-on-one, two-on-twos, and then we come together for more.
Right. Once we get the treatise down and more into that, and then we get further along on the Gilberts, then we should be able to start constructing some documents, because now we got the theory pretty much down. We've got the doctrine down, and then we can start applying the practical and start duplicating some of the information that they've already been doing. And we may be able to improve on it. Which is basically what you said, JC.
Kristen?
Yeah.
This is Michael. I finally got on, and I'm paying for it. Hopefully get it straightened out later. But after reviewing a lot of your information and looking over, the only flaw that I can see is initially when we open up the account or after we pay off the war debt or our portion of it, is putting up the funds into the bank. There's no way that we can force them, for the 40-week period to collect off the interest. There's no way that we can force them to do that. That's what they only see in the whole thing.
Yeah, I threw that out there to give everybody kind of like a concept of what we're talking about. But when we're doing the interest generating it on the public side, it's got nothing to do with 40-week transfer. That's like on a public side trade that they're doing already, but we're totally like outside that realm. We're doing something totally different. It's likened to that 40-week trade, but it's not. We're not doing the same thing. I don't need those traders.
Well, I understand. And the thing is, also, it's Miss Rios. It's not Anna Cabarro anymore.
Yeah, it's Rio. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, has anybody, got anything else to want to discuss or talk about real quick?
Christian, this is Matthew.
Yeah, Matt.
When we spoke about this, you mentioned something about passport.
Correct. The green one.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was something you wanted to divulge on tonight or not, but I thought I'd ask you about it.
No, I hadn't planned on talking about it, but what questions do you have about it?
Well, I just didn't know if you were going to share that with the group or not.
Yeah, there's a passport out there. I understand it's probably the green one. It contains a whole different number where it was really based on your state citizenship. And the last I heard, somebody out of New Jersey about 20 years ago was the last one I heard that had one. That's the one when the number's in the computer, it comes up, do not detain.
I think when I was a child, that was the first passport I had was green out of Minnesota.
Didn't you say that was an ambassador passport or something like that?
Yeah, I did an ambassador study, and that was the executure. That was the official recognition. When there's two ways that they recognize you. There's the official, then there's the informal. The officials, when they roll out the red carpet and they scotch on television, and all the officials from Russia and France and all that comes out. And the informal one is the one by the passport. So the passport is really the executure or the document recognition of your ambassadorship in the United States that you're coming in from a foreign country. You have a right to travel, you're functioning as an ambassador. You get a lot of this information if you look under ambassador under corpus juris secundum. If you did a study under that alone, you'd probably start seeing something there. The executure was the charter, the king that he granted to the party, which gave them certain rights. So actually our charter from our king was Declaration of Independence. So that's down in the future. Let's operate let's get the trust thing down, and then so we can terminate the trust if we have to, take control of the IMF master file and correct all that so that everything comports to all the other agencies. and now we can use the W8 bends and the IMYs, and there's no conflict when they do their due diligence to check out any information. It all matches.
Christian, are there certain things that we could be doing concurrently, along with the, getting up to his speed up to chapter 3? Should, for those of us who haven't been away for our IMF or individual master files, should we go ahead and just do that now?
Well, if you get past chapter 1, you're doing great by Monday. You could read through it, but to really give it a study, all the words.
Well, I stopped drinking the fluoridated water, so yeah, I stopped drinking the fluoridated water, so my IQ shot up a little bit.
Kristen, can I ask a question?
On Monday without any problems? Does everybody understand how to get in the free conferencing and their contacts? Punch in the code, right? Okay.
Okay, with that, I'm going to hop off too. So thank you, Christian. Thank you, everybody.
Michael, could you get on okay? And then, are you still on the call line for charge?
No, I'm on the charge. I think the reason why it won't accept me is because you never sent me an invite. Because it's not the code that I'm putting in. It's not accepting it.
That 9170 pound.
Yeah. It's at 917030 pound. That's not letting me in.
I don't think it manages whether or not I sent you an invitation with that link on there because there's other people that I didn't send it to.
Well, for some reason it doesn't like me.
What I did is I just joined Skype tonight and downloaded the Skype software, obviously, and then in the contacts, Christian said put in, so I added to the contact folder free conferencing, and it recognized that. And then when I dialed that number, then I needed to go up there and grab that digital dial pad and enter that code, 917030 pound, and it took it. Are you here in the U.S.?
No, I've done that many a time, and it's not accepted.
Yeah. Is it on a cell phone? You're coming in from a cell phone, maybe?
So for some reason it's not recognizing it. It might be because I'm on dial.
He's on dial-up, so that may be an issue.
There's some kind of, I think some companies won't let you dial in some conferencing things.
Yeah, it could be the dial-up servers not letting you in.
Might, yeah. You have a firewall? There's a firewall, I wonder? No, that wouldn't
Yeah, the thing is, I'm dial up. I'm online. I'll dial up. It doesn't have anything to do with the company.
You're on dial-up? That might be the problem, huh?
Well, things out here in Texas, up here in the country, maybe that's what's going on. I don't know.
Well, here, satellite, they're running some specials on satellite. It's like $40 a month. The trouble is the phone's like $1,500.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I guess I gotta hurry up and get into that account.
Kristen, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Who's this?
This is Bob Brown, Robert, Pro CTS from Wilmington, North Carolina. You were talking about the National Archives getting the copies of the Declaration of Independence. Do you have a certified copy?
Well, when they send you that, it's going to have all the certification stuff on it.
Okay, because I I called Georgia and I called D.C. today, and neither one of the clerks knew if we would be certified.
You need to ask specifically for Fitzgerald, the clerk, Mrs. Fitzgerald. She's the only one that does it.
Thank you.
It's at the National Archives.
Yeah, right.
D.C., yeah.
Okay, any questions, anybody at all?
Well, kind of off the subject, but a gentleman mentioned TrueCrypt, and you said, Christian, you had some type of encryption. I kind of understand what encryption is. Obviously, it's some kind of code to keep people from, well, kind of your stuff hidden. Is there a good reason for us to download this TrueCrypt and use that for this?
Safe and secure, that you want to keep your information, your contacts, and your information and stuff, from being cracked. Yeah, I would suggest using it. It's a required thing, I would say.
So basically, I mean, this would be password.
Yeah, it's probably a 128-bit encryption, which is the best out there so far today.
So if I had a file that was encrypted and I wanted to send it to somebody, they would have to have the encryption technology, or would I have to?
Yeah, they couldn't lock it unless you had the actual key links on both ends. So whatever you encrypt it with, they would have to decrypt it with the same thing on the other end.
Okay.
Christian, one more question.
It's
been bothering me for a couple of weeks. We talked about the trustee or the one trustee of the U.S., and I wrote back to you and said that I thought that was the Attorney General, and you said no. Were you trying to tell me that there's more than one trustee? Because I thought originally...
We're the trustees over the bankruptcy.
Okay. We are. Okay. So all my letters to my federal senators didn't work. Now I know why.
Yeah, it's, when we filled out that 1040 form, we didn't know we were making a declaration of trust and we were appointing ourselves trustees.
The last one I filled out was in 1971, so I guess I still have to amend that.
Yeah, if you filled out one, making it that way, you set the record as being that's the way it is.
Yeah, I only did one.
Yeah, it only takes one.
Yeah.
And then that U.S. Attorney's Manual under 6-4.010 says that all other agents must comport to that IRS record that you set up. And if you set it up wrong as trustee, then
it'll be a charge.
Now I'm going to say this: we need to be the trustee,
right?
Because we're the only one who can pay it. But if I don't create an argument, controversy, then there is no case. I don't have to worry about any cases.
Right.
And if I pass debt and the present debt, then I don't have any worry about any obligations because I'm paying my obligations, and I can pay my obligations with private credit as long as I don't create any controversies and I make an offer to pay the past, present, and all the debts, and don't get any more future debts.
Right. So we don't have any spirit accounting.
Well, I didn't hear you again.
I said, are we going to ask for a certified accounting of the debt?
Yeah, you could. I don't know if it really makes any difference to me. I'm just going to make the offer to whatever the debt is, pay it.
Okay, right.
I'll give you a blank instrument to do the set-off with. I authorize the transfer of the funds. And I don't use weak purgatory language. I'm going to order, I'm going to direct, I'm going to command them to do what they're supposed to do. If I have claimed the trust by expressing the trust and I proved the trust, now I got the ability to direct, command, and order. But if I haven't done that first, then when I do any kind of instructions to them, they're going to ignore them.
Of course.
Because there has to be debtors under debtor-creditor.
Right.
Hey, Christian, Simon.
Yeah.
Question for you. I was just trying to see. Didn't you go like over a series with some of the past calls of the A for B methods?
Yeah, somewhat. In fact, I was saying that it's possible to do some hybrids yet.
Okay.
Really, I've got to treat them all as trusts from here on. I'm really trying to get away from the debtor-creditor stuff, and since November, November and December and that forward, I'm not using the debtor-creditor except for value stuff anymore.
Okay. So, mainly those calls
under trust.
I can go back on the trust. Okay.
Yeah, which is on page. Let's see. In the Gilbert's book is that one alienability of rights to the beneficiary on page 33, I think. See what page is that on? $127 on Gilbert's.
27 on Gilbert's.
Yeah, section 442, transferee's rights, and that's under alienability of beneficiary's interest. That's section 442. That is likened to accept for value, return for value, because all you're doing with accept for value and return for value is you're flipping the liability back on them, and that's what this does. You're doing a transfer after the lien attaches, and attached to the title, the beneficiary's title, but when the beneficiary moves his title to another party, then the assignment of the liability transfers with it. So you're flipping it back to them just like the return for value. But it's not value, return for value. That's debtor-creditor. It's trust. It's all done under trust.
The wording has to be different.
Yeah,
so
right.
it would be a lot easier attacking a mortgage this way as well.
Yes, because it really is a trust. And you're going to do debtor-creditor stuff when it's a trust, and then that's why it's working.
One thing that I was just going to say, Christian, that one thing you told me the other night was you don't even have to communicate with the bank anymore after this.
Right.
You won't have to try to deal with CFOs or attorneys, none of that stuff. You can just do this, and what do you just deal directly with Treasury and IRS?
Yeah, we're going to do a DIB hearing at the Treasury, IRS.
Beautiful thing.
Really?
The thing is, looking over everything, I perceive it's going to take roughly for a month, or from a month to 2 months to get everything in order. And that's not getting the stuff back from Hillary.
Correct, yeah.
And who knows how long that's going to take.
International venue, us being formed from the United States, is going to take 120 days if we had the paperwork done today. So yeah, we've got our work cut out for it, and we got some time constraints, but if the Lord is willing, we'll get it all done.
As long as we're all in the right mindset, is not to go out there and get greedy and just do our Father's work. But I'm not going to sit here and preach to everybody, but each man is to his own.
Well, he opens doors for us, but we're the ones that have to walk through them. We have to do our part, too.
Study to show yourself approved.
Be givers, be joyful givers.
And thanks for giving us so much, Christian.
Thank you, Christian. Bob Brown, I'll see you Monday. Thank you.
Thanks, Christian. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, everybody. And see you on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, good night, everybody.
All right.
Okay. Good night, Christian. Thanks again.